The stars looked different out here. Captain Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of the human ship Taeguk and watched the strange colors of the Helix Nebula through the main window. Red and blue gases swirled together like paint in water. His crew had been traveling for 3 months to reach this place. No human had ever come this far before. "Captain, we are getting some interesting readings," said Yoonji from her station. She was the ship's communication officer, a young woman with quick fingers and sharp eyes. "There are energy signals coming from the third planet in this system." Hyun-woo walked over to look at her screen. The Taeguk was not a big ship. Only 40 people worked on it. But it was the most advanced ship humans had ever built. It had new engines that could travel faster than light. It had computers that could think almost like humans. It had tools that could scan planets from far away. "What kind of signals?" Hyun-woo asked. "They look old," Yoonji said. "Very old, but they are still working somehow." So-min looked up from her engineering station. She was older than most of the crew, with gray hair and hands that always seemed to be fixing something. "Captain, those signals are not natural. Someone built something. Down there." The third planet looked dead from space. It was brown and gray with no clouds, no plants, no water that they could see. But if someone had built something there long ago, it could be important. It could teach humans about other life in the galaxy. "Jae-ho, what do you think?" Hyun-woo asked his tactical officer. Jae-ho was a serious man who always thought about dangers first. "The planet looks empty, Captain. No ships, no defenses that I can see. If we stay careful, it should be safe to take a closer look." Hyun-woo nodded. This was why they had come so far from Earth. To find new things, to learn about the galaxy. "Take us closer, Soo-jin." Soo-jin was their navigator. Her job was to fly the ship safely through space. She was very good at her job. The Taeguk moved toward the dead planet like a bird landing on a branch. As they got closer, the signals became stronger. Dr. Min-ho came to the bridge. He studied alien life, though he had never seen any real aliens before. None of them had. "These readings are amazing," Min-ho said, looking at the data. "Whatever is down there, it has been working for thousands of years, maybe millions. The technology must be incredible." The crew was excited. This could be the greatest discovery in human history. The first proof that other intelligent life existed in the galaxy. The first alien technology humans had ever found. "There," said Dong-min, pointing at his screen. He was their computer expert. "I can see structures on the surface. They look like buildings, but the design is very strange." On the main screen, they could see shapes that were clearly not natural. Tall towers that curved like snakes. Platforms that hung in the air with no support. Patterns of light that moved across the ground like living things. "It's beautiful," whispered Yoonji. "And completely alien," added Min-ho. "The way these structures are built, it shows a completely different way of thinking. Different physics, maybe." Hyun-woo felt proud of his crew. They had trained for years for a moment like this. Earth had sent them to explore and learn. They were representing all of humanity. "Begin detailed scans," he ordered. "I want to know everything about this place before we consider landing." The Taeguk's sensors reached out like invisible hands, touching every part of the alien ruins. The data came back in waves, energy patterns, metal compositions, age estimates. All of it was recorded and studied. "Captain," So-min called out, "the power source for these ruins is something I have never seen before. It is not nuclear, not fusion, something completely different." "How is it still working after so long?" Hyun-woo asked. "I do not know. But if we could understand it, it could change everything for humanity. Clean energy that lasts forever." The crew worked for hours, scanning and recording. They found more structures. Some were underground. Some were so small they were almost invisible. Some were so big they could be seen from space. Dalsu, the security chief, walked onto the bridge. He was a big man with worried eyes. "Captain, I do not like this." "What do you mean?" "It feels too easy. We travel farther than any human before. We find the most important discovery in history. And there is no one here to stop us? No defenses? Nothing?" Hyun-woo understood Dalsu's worry. The man had been a soldier before joining the crew. He always expected trouble. Maybe whoever built this is long gone. Hyunwoo said. Maybe they left these ruins as a gift for whoever found them. Maybe, Dalsu said, but he did not sound convinced. Yoonji suddenly looked up from her station. Her face was pale. Captain, I am getting new signals. From the planet? No, from space. All around us. The main screen changed. Instead of showing the alien ruins, it now showed space around the Taeguk. At first, everything looked normal, just stars and nebula gas. Then the ships appeared. They came from nowhere, like ghosts becoming real. One by one, alien ships materialized around the Taeguk. Not just a few ships, dozens, then hundreds. They were huge. Each one was 10 times bigger than the Taeguk. They were dark and angular, like pieces of black metal shaped by an angry god. Red lights pulsed along their sides like heartbeats. How many? Hyunwoo asked quietly. Jaeho's voice was tight. 237 ships, Captain. All of them are pointing weapons at us. The bridge became very quiet. Through the windows, they could see the alien fleet surrounding them completely. There was no way out, no place to run. Yoonji's communication equipment started making noise. Someone was trying to talk to them. Put it on speaker, Hyunwoo said. The voice that came through was harsh and cold. It spoke in an alien language first, then switched to broken human words. Human vessel. You have entered Valdris space. You have touched Valdris property. This is forbidden. Hyunwoo stepped forward. This is Captain Hyunwoo of the human ship Taeguk. We did not know this space belonged to anyone. We were only exploring. Exploring is invasion. Your species is weak, but your technology is interesting. You will surrender your ship. You will give us all your knowledge. You will become servants of the Valdris Empire. And if we refuse, then you will die. But we will take your ship anyway. The communication cut off. The alien ships moved closer, like wolves circling their prey. So-min looked at her instruments. Captain, they have damaged our quantum drive somehow. We cannot escape. Hyunwoo felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. 40 lives depended on his decisions. And maybe the future of humanity, too. If these aliens got human technology, they could find Earth. They could attack human colonies. How long do we have? He asked. Jaeho checked his readings. They are charging their weapons but not firing yet. I think they want us alive for now. Yoonji, can you send a message to Earth? She shook her head. They are jamming all our communications. We are completely cut off. Hyunwoo looked around at his crew. These were good people, smart people. They had come here to explore and learn. Now they were trapped, surrounded by an alien fleet that wanted to enslave them, but they were human, and humans did not give up easily. Dalsu, get everyone ready. We might be outnumbered, but we are not helpless. Yes, Captain. So-min, what can you tell me about our systems? The quantum drive is damaged, but not destroyed. If I can repair it, maybe we can escape. Do it! Jaeho, I want to know everything about those ships. Weapons, defenses, weak points. Already working on it, Captain. Hyunwoo looked out at the alien fleet one more time. The Valdris had made a mistake. They thought humans would be easy to capture. They thought fear would make them surrender. They were about to learn something new about humanity. The alien ships looked like metal mountains floating in space. Each one was covered in weapons that could destroy the Taeguk 100 times over. Red lights moved across their dark hulls like blood flowing through veins. Captain Hyunwoo watched them through the bridge windows. His crew worked quietly at their stations, trying to find some way out of this trap. But everyone knew the truth. They were completely surrounded. Captain, Yoonji said softly, they are talking to each other. I can hear their communications. Can you understand them? Not the words, but I am learning their patterns. Give me some time and maybe I can figure out what they are saying. Jaeho looked up from his tactical station. Captain, I have been studying their ships. They are built for war. Nothing else. No exploration equipment. No science labs. Just weapons and armor. What kind of weapons? Energy beams, missiles, something that looks like it could tear holes in space itself. Jaeho's voice was grim. Each ship has enough firepower to destroy a small moon. Dr. Minho walked onto the bridge, carrying a tablet. I have been analyzing the alien signals, the way they communicate, the patterns they use. These are not explorers like us. They are conquerors. What do you mean? Hyunwoo asked. Their language structure is very rigid, very hierarchical. Everything is about commands and obedience. They do not ask questions or discuss ideas. They just give orders and expect them to be followed. So Min wiped oil from her hands as she came up from the engine room. Captain, I have bad news about the quantum drive. It is not just damaged. They hit it with some kind of energy weapon that I have never seen before. Can you fix it? Maybe, but it will take time, and I need parts that we do not have. What kind of parts? Quantum crystals. We only carried a few spares, and they used a frequency that cracked all of them at once. It was a very precise attack, Hyunwoo frowned. How did they know exactly how to disable our drive? That is what worries me, So-min said. They knew exactly what to hit and how to hit it, like they had studied our technology before. Dal-Su walked over from the security station. Captain, I have been thinking about what the alien commander said. They want our technology, but they also called us weak. Why would they want technology from a weak species? Good question. Maybe we are not as weak as they think. Maybe they are afraid of something. Yoonji suddenly straightened up at her station. Captain, I am getting more signals. They are talking to someone else, someone far away. Who? I think it is their command center, their home base. And Captain, she looked worried. They are talking about Earth. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing. What are they saying about Earth? Hyunwoo asked. I cannot understand all of it, but I keep hearing numbers, big numbers, and the word that means attack in their language. Dr. Minho put down his tablet. Captain, I think they have been watching us for a long time. Studying our ships, learning about our technology. This was not a random encounter. A trap? Yes. They put those ruins here as bait. They knew humans would be curious. They knew we would come to investigate. Dongmin looked up from his computer station. Captain, I have been analyzing their ship formations. This is not just a capture mission. This is a full military operation. They have scouts, fighters, heavy battleships, even ships that look like they carry troops. How many troops? Based on the size of their transport ships, maybe 50,000 soldiers. Hyunwoo felt cold. 50,000 alien soldiers just to capture one human ship with 40 people? This was much bigger than a simple first contact situation. The communication system crackled again. The harsh alien voice filled the bridge. Human Captain, I am War Master Kethvar of the Valdris Hegemony. You will listen carefully. Hyunwoo stepped forward. I am listening. Your species has been spreading through the galaxy like a disease. You build ships. You explore new worlds. You grow stronger every year. This cannot be allowed. We have not threatened anyone. We only explore and learn. All species say this, then they build weapons, then they attack. The Valdris have seen this pattern many times. We stop it before it starts. What do you want from us? First, you will give us all information about human technology, ship designs, weapon systems, the location of all human worlds. We cannot do that. Second, you will help us build ships using human quantum drive technology. We will use these ships to visit your worlds. To attack them, you mean? To prevent them from becoming a threat. Some humans will be allowed to live as servants. Others will be eliminated. This is mercy. Hyunwoo felt anger rising in his chest. You talk about mercy while planning to destroy innocent people? Innocent? Your species builds weapons that can destroy stars. You create machines that think like living beings. You are already too dangerous to exist freely. The communication cut off again. Yoonji was working frantically at her station. Captain, I am learning more of their language. They are giving orders to their fleet. They want us to surrender in 6 hours. What happens if we do not surrender? They will take the ship by force. They will kill anyone who resists. Then they will take our quantum drive technology and use it to attack Earth. So-min clenched her fists. We cannot let them have our technology. If they learn how to build quantum drives, they will be unstoppable. But we cannot fight them either, Jae-ho said. We have no weapons that can damage ships that big. Maybe We do not need to fight them, Dr. Minho said quietly. Everyone looked at him. I have been studying their communication patterns, their social structure. They are very rigid, very predictable. They do everything according to rules and hierarchy. So maybe their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. Dalsu crossed his arms. Explain. They cannot think creatively. They cannot adapt quickly. They follow orders without question. But humans are different. We improvise. We change plans. We work together in ways they do not understand. Yunwoo was starting to see what Minho meant. You think we can outsmart them? I think we can do something they do not expect. Something so unusual that their rigid thinking cannot handle it. Dongmin turned his chair around. What about their computer systems? I have been monitoring their data transmissions. Their technology is very advanced, but it follows strict patterns. No creativity, no random elements. Could you hack into their systems? Maybe, if I had more time to study their code structure. So Min was thinking hard. Captain, what if we do not try to escape? What if we do something completely different? Like what? I do not know yet. But they expect us to either surrender or run away. What if we do neither? Yunji looked up from her station. Again. Captain, I am getting new information. They are talking about their plan in detail now. What plan? After they capture us, they will take our ship apart piece by piece. They will study every part of our technology. Then they will build a new fleet using human quantum drives. How? Big a fleet? 10,000 ships, Captain. They want to build 10,000 ships with human technology. Then they will attack every human world at the same time. The crew sat in stunned silence. 10,000 ships with quantum drives could appear anywhere in human space without warning. Earth would have no defense against such an attack. There is more, Yunji continued. They have already captured other ships, other species. They have done this before. What happened to those species? They do not exist anymore. Hyunwoo walked to the center of the bridge. His crew looked at him with trust and hope, even though they were facing impossible odds. Listen to me, all of you, he said. They think they know what humans are like. They think we are predictable. They think we will either surrender like cowards or fight like fools. He looked at each member of his crew. Good people, smart people, creative people. But they are wrong. They do not understand what makes humans special. We do not just follow orders. We think. We adapt. We work together in ways no other species can imagine. So-min smiled grimly. What do you want us to do, Captain? Something they will never expect. Something that will show them what humans are really capable of. We only have 6 hours, Jae-ho reminded him. Then we better get started. Outside, the bridge windows, the alien fleet waited like sleeping monsters. But inside the Taeguk, 40 humans began to plan something that would change the galaxy forever. 5 hours until the deadline. The Taeguk felt different now. Instead of fear, there was energy in the air. Instead of despair, there was determination. Captain Hyunwoo had called the entire crew to the main meeting room. 40 people sat around the big table. Engineers, scientists, pilots, medics, security officers. Each one was an expert in their field. Each one had trained for years to be here. And each one was about to help create something impossible. Listen carefully, Hyunwoo began. We cannot fight them with weapons. We cannot run from them with our damaged drive. So we are going to do something else. We are going to use the one thing they do not have. What is that, Captain? Asked Sujin. Human creativity. So-min leaned forward. I have been thinking about our quantum drive. Yes, it is damaged, but maybe that is not a bad thing. What do you mean? The crystals are cracked, but they still have power. If I overload them in just the right way, I can create a space-time bubble around our ship. Jae-ho frowned. What would that do? It would make us invisible to their sensors for a short time. Like hiding behind a wall made of twisted space. How long? Maybe 10 minutes? Maybe 20? But in that time, we would be completely hidden. Dr. Minho opened his tablet. I have been studying their communication patterns more carefully. They Use a specific frequency to coordinate their entire fleet. Every ship is connected to every other ship through this network. Like a computer network? Exactly. But it is more than that. They share thoughts, emotions, even tactical decisions through this connection. It makes them very efficient. Dongmin's eyes lit up. But if we could disrupt that frequency, their coordination would collapse, Minho finished. They would not be able to work together anymore. Yunji had been listening to alien communications for hours. I think I understand their command structure now. The War Master gives orders to ship commanders. Ship commanders give orders to crew. No one ever questions these orders. No one ever thinks for themselves. That could be useful, Dalsu said. If we can confuse their commanders, the whole fleet might not know what to do. But how do we confuse them? Asked one of the engineers. Hyun-woo smiled. By doing something they cannot understand. Something so human that their rigid minds cannot process it. He turned to Jae-ho. What weapons do we have? Our ship was not built for war, Captain. We have mining charges for breaking up asteroids. We have cutting lasers for taking samples. We have emergency flares, nothing that could damage their ships. What if we do not try to damage their ships? What if we use our tools in ways they were never designed for? Jae-ho thought about this. The mining charges could be reprogrammed. Instead of breaking rocks, they could create electromagnetic pulses. How big a pulse? Big enough to disable electronics on their smaller ships. Maybe even disrupt their communication network. So-min was getting excited. And the cutting lasers could be modified too. We could tune them to the same frequency as their communication system. What would that do? It would inject noise into their network. Random signals. Static. They would not be able to hear their own orders. Dr. Minho was making notes on his tablet. I have another idea. What if we broadcast something through their communication network? Something that shows them what humans are really like? Like what? Music, art, stories. Things that show we are not violent conquerors. Things that show we create instead of destroy. Yunji nodded eagerly. I could modify our communication equipment to broadcast on their frequency. But what should we send? Everything, Hyun-woo said. Send them everything that makes us human. Navigator Soo-jin had been studying star charts. Captain, I have been looking at the gravity fields in this system. If we could move at exactly the right time, we could use the planet's gravity to slingshot around their fleet. Even with a damaged drive, the quantum drive creates the speed, but gravity is free. If we time it perfectly, we could move faster than they expect. How fast? Fast enough to surprise them. Maybe fast enough to escape if we repair the drive at the last second. One of the medical officers, Dr. Yoon, raised her hand. Captain, what about their soldiers? They said they have 50,000 troops. What if they try to board our ship? Dal-su answered for the captain. We have 40 people against 50,000. But we know our ship better than they do. We can use that advantage. How? Surprise. Misdirection. Make them think we are somewhere we are not. Lead them into traps they do not see coming. The ship's psychologist, Dr. Hwan, had been quiet until now. Captain, there is something else we should consider. These aliens have conquered other species before. They think they know how all intelligent life behaves. But they have never met humans before. We might do things that are completely outside their experience. Like what? Sacrifice for others. Working together without a strict hierarchy. Choosing cooperation over competition. Hyun-woo was starting to see the shape of their plan. It was crazy. It was dangerous. It probably would not work. But it was completely, uniquely human. All right, everyone. Here is what we are going to do. He pointed to So-min. You are going to overload the quantum drive to create our space-time bubble. But you are also going to prepare for an emergency. Restart. We will need the drive to work again at exactly the right moment. So-min nodded. I can do it, but I will need help. Take whoever you need. He turned to Jae-ho. You are going to modify our mining charges and cutting lasers. Turn them into weapons that attack their coordination instead of their hulls. How many charges do we have? 17 mining charges, 8 cutting lasers. It will have to be enough. He looked at Eunji and Dongmin. You two are going to hack. into their communication network, but instead of attacking their computers, you are going to show them who we really are. What do you want us to send? Yunji asked. Music from Earth, pictures of human families, stories about cooperation and friendship, scientific discoveries we have shared freely with other species, everything that proves humans are builders, not destroyers. Dr. Minho was writing furiously. Captain, this could actually work. If we can disrupt their coordination while showing them a different side of humanity, some of them might start to question their orders, Hyunwoo finished. And if even a few ships hesitate, it could create chaos in their entire fleet, Dalsu said with growing excitement. Sujin was running calculations on her tablet. Captain, if we do this right, we could turn their own rigid discipline against them. They are not used to making independent decisions. Exactly. They follow orders without thinking. But what happens when the orders stop making sense? The crew was buzzing with energy now. Engineers were talking to scientists. Computer experts were working with communication officers. Security teams were planning with medical staff. This was what humans did best. Not following rigid chains of command, but working together as equals, sharing ideas, building on each other's thoughts, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. How much time do we need to set this up? Hyunwoo asked. So-min checked her list. 2 hours to modify the quantum drive. 1 hour to set up the space-time bubble. Jae-ho was calculating too. 3 hours to reprogram all the mining charges and lasers. I need 4 hours to hack their network, Dongmin said. And I need at least 3 hours to gather all the cultural material we want to broadcast, Yoonji added. Hyunwoo looked at his watch. We have 4 hours and 30 minutes until their deadline. Some of you will have to work together. Some tasks will have to be done at the same time. We can do it, So-min said confidently. We just need to coordinate. Like a human. Network, Dr. Minho said with a smile. Flexible, creative, adaptive, unlike theirs, Dalsu added. The crew began to scatter to their tasks, but before they left, Hyunwoo called out to them. Remember, this plan only works if we all trust each other. No one person can do this alone. We succeed together or we fail. Together. As the meeting room emptied, Hyunwoo stayed behind for a moment. Through the window he could see the alien fleet waiting patiently. 237 ships full of creatures who thought they knew everything about war and conquest. They were about to learn something new about humans. They were about to discover that the greatest weapon in the galaxy was not a gun or a bomb. It was an idea, and ideas once released could not be stopped. 30 minutes until the deadline. The Taeguk hummed with activity. In the engine room, So-min made final adjustments to the quantum drive. Sparks flew from cracked crystals as she pushed them beyond their safe limits. The space-time bubble would work, but only once. On the bridge, Yoonji and Dongmin worked together at the communication station. Lines of alien code scrolled across their screens as they prepared to inject human culture into the Valdris network. Music files, art databases, historical records. Everything that showed humanity's true nature. I have access to their communication frequency, Dongmin reported. But their security is adapting. We will only have one chance to broadcast before they lock us out. The mining charges are ready, Jae-ho announced from his tactical station. 17 electromagnetic pulse devices programmed to target their coordination systems. Cutting lasers are modified and charged, added one of his assistants. They will inject random noise into their network when fired. Dr. Minho walked onto the bridge carrying a data pad. Captain, I have been analyzing their fleet behavior. They move in perfect formation. Every ship knows exactly where every other ship is supposed to be. What happens if that formation breaks down? Chaos. They have no experience with improvisation. If ships start moving out of position, the whole fleet could collapse into confusion. Sujin checked her navigation calculations. One more time. The gravity slingshot is ready, Captain. When you give the word, I can use the planet's pull to accelerate us past their formation. How fast? Faster than their sensors can track, if the space-time bubble is working. Captain Hyunwoo looked around the bridge at his crew. These people had worked miracles in 4 hours. They had turned a peaceful exploration ship into something the Valdris had never seen before. Not a warship, but something more dangerous, a ship full of human creativity. "Status report on the quantum drive," he called to Somin through the intercom. "Ready, Captain. The crystals are holding together, but barely. I can create the space-time bubble, but after that we will need 10 minutes to restart the drive." 10 minutes? Maybe 15. The crystals need time to stabilize after the overload. Hyunwoo nodded. They would have to make those 10 minutes count. The communication system crackled to life. War Master Kethvar's harsh voice filled the bridge. "Human, vessel, your time is ending. Prepare to surrender your ship. We need more time to consider your offer," Hyunwoo replied calmly. "You have had 6 hours. That is more time than we have given any other species." "What happened to the other species?" "They chose to fight. They were destroyed. You will choose more wisely." "Maybe we will choose differently." There was a pause. When the War Master spoke again, his voice was confused. "Differently? There are only 2 choices, surrender or die. For you, maybe. But humans see more possibilities." The communication cut off. Through the windows, they could see the alien fleet beginning to move. The massive ships started closing in, preparing to capture the Taeguk. "Now," Hyunwoo said quietly. Somin's voice came through the intercom. "Quantum drive overload in 3, 2, 1, now." The ship shuddered. Outside the windows, space seemed to bend and twist. The stars stretched into long lines of light. The alien fleet suddenly looked fuzzy and distant, as if seen through thick water. "Space-time bubble is active," Somin reported. "We are invisible to their sensors. J-Ho, launch mining charges. Charges away." 17 small objects shot out from the Taeguk like seeds from a flower. They spread out in all directions, each one programmed to target a different section of the alien fleet. "Cutting lasers! Fire!" 8 beams of modified laser light reached out toward the Valdris ships. But instead of trying to cut through their armor, the beams carried something else. Random signals, noise, confusion. "Yunji, begin the broadcast." Broadcasting. "Now, Captain." The first thing they sent was music, a symphony by Beethoven. The sound of a human orchestra working together to create something beautiful. No words, no explanations. Just pure emotion expressed through harmony. On the alien ships, communication officers heard the strange signals and tried to understand them. What kind of weapon was this? What kind of attack used organized sound? The mining charges reached their targets and exploded. Not with fire and metal, but with electromagnetic energy. Invisible waves of force that scrambled computer systems and disrupted communication networks. Suddenly, dozens of Valdris ships found themselves cut off from the fleet network. They could not hear orders from their commanders. They could not coordinate with other ships. For the first time in their military careers, Valdris officers had to think for themselves. Some ships stopped moving, waiting for orders that would not come. Others tried to continue their attack patterns, but without coordination they began to bump into each other. The perfect formation that had surrounded the Taeguk started to fall apart. "It is working," J-Ho reported with excitement. "Their fleet coordination is breaking down." But Hyunwoo knew this was just the beginning. "Continue the broadcast. Send them everything we have." The second transmission was a children's lullaby. A human mother singing to her baby. The sound was soft and gentle, full of love and protection. It was followed by images of human families, parents teaching children, people helping neighbors, communities working together to build schools and hospitals. On the Valdris command ship, War Master Kethvar stared at his screens in confusion. His fleet was scattered, his communications were full of strange sounds and images, and the human ship had vanished completely. "Report!" he snarled at his officers. "Sir, we have lost contact with 47 ships. Another 83 are reporting communication failures." "How is this possible?" "Unknown, sir. The human weapons are unlike anything in our database." "Find that ship! Destroy it!" But the Taeguk was still hidden in its space-time bubble, moving silently through the chaos of the broken formation. The third transmission was human history. Not the wars and conflicts, but the cooperations and discoveries. Images of the International Space Station, built by many nations working together. Pictures of the Human Genome Project, where scientists shared their knowledge freely. videos of disaster relief efforts where humans risked their lives to help strangers. Sub-Commander Veltar of the Valdris ship Deathbringer watched these transmissions with growing confusion. His species had studied many alien races before destroying them, but they had never seen anything like this. Where were the images of conquest? Where were the weapons of mass destruction? Where were the signs of the aggressive, territorial behavior that all intelligent species developed? Instead, he saw creatures sharing food with each other. He saw them creating art together. He saw them exploring the galaxy not to conquer, but to learn. "Sub-Commander," one of his officers called out, "we are receiving new orders from the War Master." "What orders?" "Destroy all ships that have lost communication. They may be infected with human weapons." Veltar stared at the officer. "Destroy our own ships? Those are the orders, sir." For the first time in his military career, Veltar hesitated. The images he had just seen showed humans protecting each other, even at great cost to themselves. But his own commander was ordering him to destroy ships full of Valdris soldiers, who had done nothing wrong except lose radio contact. "Sir?" the officer prompted. "Should I target the damaged ships?" On other ships throughout the fleet, similar conversations were happening. Officers who had never questioned orders were suddenly having strange thoughts. The human broadcasts had shown them something they had never seen before. A species that chose cooperation over competition. A species that helped instead of harmed. Space-time. "Bubble failing," So-Min reported through the intercom. "We will be visible again in 30 seconds. Su-Jin." "Execute the gravity slingshot," Hyun-Woo ordered. "Executing now!" The Taeguk suddenly accelerated as the planet's gravity grabbed it and flung it forward. The ship shot through the scattered alien formation like a meteor, moving too fast. "For their weapons to track, broadcasting final transmission," Yunji announced. The last thing they sent was simple. It was Captain Hyun-Woo speaking directly to the alien fleet. "We are not your enemies," his voice said in carefully translated Valdris language. "We did not come here to fight or conquer. We came to learn. We came to explore. We came hoping to find friends among the stars. You say all species eventually become threats. But what if you are wrong? What if there is another way? What if instead of destroying each other, we could help each other? Look at what we have shown you. Look at what humans really are. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. But we try to do better. We try to work together. We try to build instead of destroy. The choice is yours. You can continue this attack and prove that violence is the only answer. Or you can try something new. You can try what humans call cooperation." The transmission ended. The Taeguk reappeared on Valdris sensors, but now it was moving away from the planet at incredible speed. "Quantum drive restart in progress," So-Min reported. 2 minutes until we can escape." But escape was no longer the most important thing. Something unprecedented was happening in the Valdris fleet, something that would change the galaxy forever. Officers were disobeying orders. Ships were refusing to fire on their own allies. And for the first time in Valdris history, soldiers were asking a question their society had forbidden. Why? The Valdris fleet was breaking apart, but not from human weapons. It was breaking apart from something much more powerful. An idea. Sub-Commander Veltar stood on the bridge of his ship, the Deathbringer, and watched chaos spread through the fleet. On his screens, he could see Valdris ships pointing weapons at each other. He could hear radio transmissions full of arguments and confusion. "Sub-Commander," his weapons officer called out, "the War Master is ordering us to fire on the Void Cutter. They refuse to destroy the damaged ships." Veltar looked at the Void Cutter on his screen. It was a good ship with a good crew. The commander was Korseth, a soldier he had known for 20 years. Now the War Master wanted him to kill Korseth because he had questioned an order. "Sir?" the weapons officer asked again. "Should I fire?" The human transmission was still playing in Veltar's mind. Images of creatures who protected each other instead of destroying each other. Beings who asked questions instead of just following orders. "No," Veltar said quietly. "Sir, I said no. We will not fire on our own ships." The bridge became silent. In all of Valdris history, no officer had ever refused a direct order from a War Master. On the Valdris command ship, War Master Kethvar was screaming at his communication officers. Why are they not responding? Why are they not following orders? "Sir," Many ships are reporting doubts about the mission. Doubts? What doubts? We are Valdris. We do not have doubts. Some commanders are asking why we need to destroy the humans, if they only want to explore. Because all species become threats. This is law. But, sir, the human transmissions show a species that shares knowledge freely. They help other species instead of conquering them. Kethvar grabbed the officer by the throat. Those transmissions are lies, propaganda. No species is truly peaceful. But even as he said it, Kethvar felt something he had never experienced before. Uncertainty. On the human ship Taeguk, Captain Hyun Woo watched the alien fleet through the bridge windows. Ships that had been in perfect formation were now scattered across space. Some were moving away from the battle. Others were arguing with their commanders over radio. A few were actually protecting the damaged vessels instead of destroying them. Captain, Yunji reported, I am hearing amazing things on their communication channels. Some ships are refusing orders. Some commanders are asking their crews what they think instead of just giving commands. What do you mean? They are learning to cooperate, like humans do. Instead of one person making all decisions, they are working together to find solutions. Dr. Minho was studying the alien behavior patterns on his screen. Captain, this is unprecedented. Their entire social structure was based on absolute obedience, but now they are learning to think for themselves. Is that good or bad for us? I think it is very good. A species that thinks for itself is less likely to follow orders to commit genocide. Quantum drive is back online, So-Min announced through the intercom. We can escape whenever you want, Captain, but Hyun-Woo did not give the order to escape. Something incredible was happening, and he wanted to see how it ended. On the Void Cutter, Commander Korseth was talking to his crew in a way no Valdris commander had ever talked before. What do you think? He asked his officers. Should we destroy those damaged ships like the War Master ordered? His tactical officer, a young female named Nexara, spoke carefully. Commander, those ships have done nothing wrong. Their only crime is losing radio contact. That is not a crime, Korseth agreed. That is an accident. The human transmission showed us something, his navigation officer added. It showed us creatures who protect each other, who help each other. Maybe that is not weakness. Maybe that is strength. Korseth nodded. I have been thinking the same thing. How many wars could we have avoided if we had tried cooperation instead of conquest? On dozens of ships throughout the fleet, similar conversations were happening. Officers who had never been allowed to express opinions were suddenly sharing their thoughts. Crews who had followed orders without question were working together to find better solutions. The change was spreading like wildfire through the Valdris fleet, and War Master Kethavar was powerless to stop it. Sir, his communication officer reported, the Stormcrusher is refusing to attack the human ship. Commander Thekvol says he wants to try talking to them instead. Talking? We are warriors, not diplomats. Sir, the Doomhammer and the Skullrender are also requesting permission to communicate with the humans. I forbid it. Sir, they are not asking for permission anymore. They are just doing it. Kethvar felt his world crumbling around him. The perfect order he had spent his life maintaining was dissolving into chaos. But it was not the chaos of destruction. It was the chaos of choice. Captain Hyun-Woo's communication equipment suddenly came alive with signals from multiple Valdris ships. Human vessel, this is Commander Thekvol of the Stormcrusher. We wish to speak with you. Human captain, this is Commander Korseth. We have seen your transmissions. We want to learn more. Taeguk, this is Sub-Commander Veltar. We do not wish to fight. We want to understand. Yunji looked at Captain Hyun-Woo with wonder. Captain, 17 ships are requesting communication. They want to talk instead of fight. Put them through. The main screen split into multiple windows, each showing a different Valdris commander. These were the same aliens who had surrounded them with overwhelming force just hours ago, but now they looked different. Instead of cold military efficiency, their faces showed curiosity. Instead of absolute certainty, they showed the willingness to learn. Human Captain, Commander Thekvol began. We have watched your transmissions many times. We have never seen anything like this before. What do you mean? Your species shares knowledge freely. You help others without expecting reward. You explore to learn, not to conquer. We did not know such things were possible. Commander Korseth spoke next. Our leaders told us that all species eventually become threats. That cooperation is weakness, but your transmissions show the opposite. Cooperation made you stronger, Sub-Commander Veltar added. Your ship defeated our entire fleet not with superior weapons, but with superior ideas. Captain Hyunwoo felt a warmth in his chest. This was why humans explored the galaxy. Not to conquer, but to connect. Not to dominate, but to inspire. We would like to learn from you, Commander Thekvol continued. Will you teach us about cooperation? Will you show us how to work together instead of just following orders? Asked Korseth. But before Hyunwoo could answer, new signals appeared on the tactical screen. More Valdris ships were moving toward them, but these ships were different. They moved in the old formation. They followed the old orders. Captain, Jae-ho warned, 43 ships are still loyal to the War Master. They are moving to attack position. What about the others? 57 ships have broken away from the main fleet. They are protecting us. Through the bridge windows, they could see an amazing sight. Valdris ships that had been built to conquer were now positioning themselves between the Taeguk and the attacking force. Former enemies were choosing to become protectors. This is War Master Kethvar to all ships, came an angry transmission. You will return to formation immediately. You will destroy the human vessel. This is a direct order. This is Commander Korseth to all ships, came another transmission. We refuse these orders. We choose cooperation over conquest. This is Sub-Commander Veltar to the fleet. We will protect our new friends. This is Commander Thekvol. Today we learn what it means to choose instead of just obey. The Valdris fleet was now split in two. On one side, ships that still followed the old ways. On the other side, ships that had chosen to try something new. And in the middle, one small human ship that had changed everything. Dr. Minho was recording everything on his tablet. Captain, we are witnessing the birth of a new civilization. These Valdris are learning to think for themselves for the first time in their history. Will it work? Hyunwoo asked. I do not know, but they are trying. And that is what makes the difference between a free species and a slave species. Yunji looked up from her station. Captain, the War Master is sending one final transmission. Let me hear it. Kethavar's voice was full of rage and confusion. Human Captain, you have destroyed everything. You have turned my fleet against me. You have poisoned their minds with your lies about cooperation. We have not lied about anything, Hyunwoo replied calmly. We have only shown them the truth about what is possible. Cooperation is weakness. Unity requires absolute obedience. No, War Master. True unity comes from choice. True strength comes from working together because we want to, not because we have to. My ships will destroy you and the traitors. Perhaps. But the idea has already spread. You cannot destroy an idea with weapons. The communication cut off. In the distance, the loyal Valdris ships began charging their weapons. But they were no longer facing just one small human ship. They were facing something much more dangerous. They were facing the power of choice itself. The two fleets faced each other across empty space. On one side, 43 Valdris ships still loyal to War Master Kethvar. On the other side, 57 ships that had chosen to protect the human vessel. Between them, the small exploration. Ship Taeguk floated like a seed that had grown into a forest. Captain Hyunwoo stood on his bridge and watched history being made. For the first time in Valdris civilization, their people were fighting not for conquest, but for choice. Not for empire, but for freedom. Captain, Yunji reported, the rebel ships are coordinating their defense, but they are doing it differently than before. How do you mean? Instead of one commander giving orders, they are all talking to each other, sharing ideas, making decisions together. Dr. Minho was fascinated by what he was seeing. Captain, they are inventing democracy in real time, learning how to cooperate instead of just obeying. Incoming transmission from Commander Korseth, Yunji announced. The screen showed the Valdris commander on his bridge, but his bridge looked different now. Instead of officers standing at rigid attention, they were gathered around him, all participating in the conversation. Human Captain, Korseth said. We have made a decision. We will not let the War Master destroy you. You have given us something precious. You have given us the right to choose. But many of you will die, Hyunwoo replied. Your ships are equal to theirs. This battle will be terrible. Perhaps. But some things are worth dying for. Freedom is one of them. Sub-Commander Veltar appeared on another communication channel. Captain Hyunwoo, we have a proposal. Will you share your quantum drive technology with us? Hyunwoo hesitated. Sharing human technology with aliens was against regulations. It could be dangerous. Not to build weapons, Veltar continued. Quickly. But to escape. If we can modify our ships with quantum drives, we can take many Valdris people away from the Empire. We can start a new colony where cooperation is valued over conquest. Somin's voice came through the intercom. Captain, I have been listening. I want to share the technology. These people are risking everything to protect us. We should help them. The quantum drive could change their entire civilization, Dr. Minho added. They could explore the galaxy as friends instead of conquerors. Hyunwoo made his decision. Commander Veltar, we will share our technology freely. Engineer Somin will transmit the quantum drive specifications to your ships. You would trust us with such power? You have already shown us who you really are, people who choose to protect instead of destroy. That is all the trust we need. Meanwhile, on the Valdris command ship, War Master Kethvar was preparing for his final attack. All ships, charge weapons, destroy the traitors and the human vessel. Sir, his communication officer said quietly, perhaps we should reconsider. The humans have shown us that cooperation might be possible. Kethvar turned on the officer with fury. You too? Have you been infected by their lies? Not lies, sir. Truth. I have seen their transmissions. I have watched how they work together. Maybe we could learn from them instead of destroying them. Never! Valdris do not learn from inferior species. But even as he said it, Kethvar could see doubt in the eyes of his own crew. The human idea was spreading even to his command ship. Signal the attack, he ordered. The loyal ships began moving forward, weapons charging. Energy beams lanced out across space, striking the rebel vessels. The battle had begun. But this was unlike any battle in Valdris history. The rebel ships did not fight with rigid formations and predetermined tactics. Instead, they adapted constantly, sharing information and coordinating their actions through discussion rather than orders. Amazing, Jeho commented from his tactical station. They are learning to fight like humans, using creativity and teamwork instead of just following battle plans. The loyal fleet had superior numbers, but the rebel fleet had something more valuable. They had the will to fight for something they believed in, and they had human technology. Quantum drive modifications complete, Somin announced. The rebel ships now have the ability to escape if they need to. But the rebel Valdris were not running. They were fighting for their newfound freedom with courage that surprised even themselves. Commander Thekvol coordinated a brilliant maneuver that used 3 ships working together to disable a loyal vessel without destroying it. We will not kill our own people, he announced on an open channel. We will show them there is a better way. This message reached the crew of the disabled ship. Within minutes, they too joined the rebellion. One by one, ships began switching sides, not because they were forced to, but because they saw the difference between fighting for fear and fighting for hope. Sir, the communication officer on Kethvar's ship said, we are losing support. Even some of our own crew are questioning the mission. Impossible! Sir, they are asking why we need to destroy a species that only wants to be our friend. Kethvar looked around his bridge and saw the truth in his officers' faces. The human idea had infected even his most loyal followers. Computer, seal the bridge, he ordered. Lock out all other stations. Sir, if my crew will not follow orders, then I will complete the mission alone. But before he could act, his weapons officer spoke up. Sir, I cannot allow you to destroy innocent people. You cannot allow? I am the War Master. You were the War Master. Now you are just one person with one opinion, and the rest of us choose differently. The bridge crew surrounded Kethvar, not with violence, but with determination. The last representatives of the old Valdris Empire had chosen freedom over tyranny. On the Teguk, Captain Hyunwoo watched the final loyal ships join the rebellion. The entire Valdris fleet was now united, but under a new philosophy, a human philosophy. "Captain," Yunji called out excitedly, "I am receiving a transmission from the entire fleet. They want to speak to you." Put it through. The main screen showed dozens of Valdris commanders, all talking at once in an excited, chaotic, wonderfully human way. "Captain Hyunwoo," Commander Korseth said, "we have made a decision. We do not want to return to the Valdris Empire. We want to start something new." "What do you want to start?" "A cooperative alliance," Subcommander Veltar replied. "Valdris and humans working together, exploring the galaxy, sharing knowledge, building instead of destroying." "We have already chosen a name," Commander Thekval added, with what might have been a smile. "The Human Valdris Cooperative Fleet." Dr. Minho was recording everything frantically. "Captain, this is the greatest moment in galactic history. The birth of the first truly cooperative interstellar alliance. What about your homeworld?" "Hyunwoo?" asked the Valdris commanders. "What about your empire?" "We will return eventually," Korseth said, "but not as conquerors, as teachers. We will show our people what we have learned about cooperation. Some will listen, some will choose to join us, and those who do not, we will not force them. That is the old way. We have learned a new way." Engineer So Min appeared on the bridge, her hands still dirty from working in the engine room. "Captain, the quantum drive specifications have been successfully transmitted to all Valdris ships. They can now travel anywhere in the galaxy." "What will you do with that power?" Hyunwoo asked the alien commanders. "Explore," said Veltar. "Learn. Share what we discover with others. Help species that need assistance," added Thekval. "Show the galaxy that cooperation is stronger than conquest," finished Korseth. 1 month later, the Human Valdris Cooperative Fleet had grown to over 300 ships. Valdris vessels from across the galaxy had heard about the rebellion and come to join the new alliance. Each ship brought more refugees from the old empire. People who chose freedom over tyranny. The Taeguk now served as the flagship of this new fleet, though Captain Hyunwoo insisted that all decisions be made by committee rather than by a single commander. The bridge had been expanded to include workstations for Valdris officers, and the two species worked together like they had been partners for centuries. "Status report," Hyunwoo called out during the morning briefing. 7 new colonies established," reported Commander Korseth, "all based on cooperative principles. 43 new species contacted," added Subcommander Veltar. "Most are interested in joining our alliance." "No conflicts, no wars, no conquests," said Commander Thekval with satisfaction. "Just exploration and friendship." Dr. Minho was compiling his research into a comprehensive report for Earth. "Captain, the transformation of Valdris society is exceeding all projections. They have embraced cooperative thinking faster than any theoretical model predicted." "What do you think made the difference?" "Choice. For the first time in their history, they were allowed to choose. And when given the choice between fear and hope, they chose hope." Yunji looked up from her communication station. "Captain, we are receiving a transmission from Earth. They want a full report on our mission." Hyunwoo smiled. "Tell them we went looking for ancient ruins. Instead, we found something much more valuable. We found friends." "What should I tell them about the future?" Hyunwoo looked around the bridge at his crew. Humans and Valdris working together, laughing together, building the future together. The small exploration ship had become the seed of something incredible. An alliance based not on conquest or control, but on cooperation and choice. Tell them that the galaxy is a much brighter place than we thought. Tell them that they're a